Conspiracy theories that are scary. Top 10 Story 1. The Illuminati and New World Order. I used to think the world was chaotic, driven by random events and the choices of individuals. But that was before I discovered the truth. It started with small things. A symbol here, a strange coincidence there. The same faces kept appearing at global events, and I realized that the people we see in power are just puppets, controlled by an unseen hand. The Illuminati, they call themselves. Their goal? A new world order. They've been manipulating wars, economies, even pandemics, all to consolidate their power. I've stumbled onto their plans, and now I'm on the run, trying to warn others. But I fear it's too late. They're everywhere, and they'll stop at nothing to silence those who know. Story 2. Black-eyed children. It was a cold, rainy night when I first encountered them. I was home alone, sitting on the couch when I heard a knock at the door. It was strange, almost too deliberate. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. When I opened the door, I found two children standing there, drenched from the rain. They were unusually pale, with dark hair plastered to their faces, but it was their eyes, completely black, void of any emotion, that sent a chill down my spine. They asked if they could come in to use the phone. Something deep inside me screamed no, but I couldn't move. It was as if they were controlling me with just their gaze. I managed to slam the door shut, and when I peeked out minutes later, they were gone. But I can't shake the feeling that they'll be back, and next time, I won't be able to resist. Story 3. The Montauk Project. I never believed in time travel or government mind control experiments, until I found myself in Montauk, New York. I was on a road trip with friends, and we decided to explore the abandoned military base just for thrills. What we found was beyond anything I could have imagined. Deep within the decaying buildings, we stumbled upon a hidden lab. Old, dusty equipment filled the room, and there were charts and diagrams that made no sense to us. Then we found the tapes, recordings of children's voices, pleading, screaming. One of the tapes was labeled Project Time Gate. That's when we realized this wasn't just an old base. We had uncovered evidence of something terrifying, a secret project that allegedly involved time travel and mind control. We left that night, but I haven't been able to sleep since. I keep dreaming of places I've never been, times I've never lived in, and sometimes I wake up somewhere else entirely. Story 4. Adrenochrome harvesting. I had always heard whispers about the elite, stories of their strange rituals and the lengths they would go to maintain their youth and power. But I never thought I'd uncover proof. I was working as a journalist when I was tipped off about a secret gathering at a remote mansion. I managed to sneak in, posing as a server. What I saw that night haunts me to this day. Powerful figures, people you'd recognize from the news, were involved in something grotesque. They spoke in hushed tones about the harvest and how it kept them young. I later learned they were referring to adrenochrome, a substance they believe can only be extracted from the adrenal glands of terrified children. I managed to escape, but they know I'm out here. I'm being followed, and I don't know how much longer I can hide. I have to tell the world what I've seen before they silence me. Story 5. The Bohemian Grove. I was always fascinated by secret societies, so when I heard about Bohemian Grove, I knew I had to see it for myself. It's a place where the world's most powerful men gather every year, hidden away in the redwood forests of California. I thought I could sneak in and maybe get some photos, but what I found was beyond anything I expected. It started with strange, ritualistic chants echoing through the trees. As I got closer, I saw them, dozens of men in robes, standing around a massive stone owl. They were chanting in a language I didn't recognize, and at the center of it all, they were performing what looked like a mock human sacrifice. But was it mock? The screams sounded so real. I managed to get out before anyone noticed me, but the images are burned into my mind. And now I'm receiving strange calls, warnings to keep quiet. But how can I? People need to know what these men are really doing. Story 6. The Mandela Effect and Alternate Realities. I used to think I had a good memory. Then the Mandela Effect started happening to me. It began with small things, brands I remembered differently, movie lines that seemed to change overnight. But then it got worse. I vividly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, yet everyone around me insisted he had died in 2013. I found others online who shared my memories, and we started connecting the dots. We weren't just misremembering, we were living in alternate realities, shifting between them without even realizing it. Sometimes, I wake up in a world where people I know have different personalities, where history itself has changed. I'm terrified that one day I'll wake up in a world where everything is wrong and I won't be able to find my way back. Story 7. Government-controlled FEMA camps. I've always been skeptical of the government, but I never imagined I'd find myself in a situation like this. It all started with the whispers, rumors of FEMA camps being set up across the country, supposedly for disaster relief. But what if they weren't? What if these camps were actually designed for something far more sinister? I started noticing strange things in my town. Unmarked trucks, construction sites with high fences, and nobody could tell me what they were building. Then the disappearances began. People who questioned the government too much, who dug too deep, just vanished. I knew I had to find out the truth. I snuck into one of the sites one night, and what I saw confirmed my worst fears. Rows upon rows of empty, fenced-in enclosures, heavily guarded. This wasn't about disaster relief. It was about control, and I knew that if I was caught, I'd end up in one of those cages. 8. MK Ultra survivor accounts. I thought it was just a story, something that happened long ago and had been exposed. MK Ultra, the CIA's mind control program, was supposed to be history. But then I met her. She was homeless, disheveled, muttering to herself on the streets. But when I got closer, she started talking to me. She told me about the voices in her head, the nightmares that felt too real, and how she couldn't escape the things they made her do. She said she was part of a continuation of MK Ultra, that they never stopped experimenting. I didn't believe her at first, but the more she talked, the more it made sense. She knew things she shouldn't have known, and she had scars, physical and mental, that couldn't be explained. I wanted to help her, but then she disappeared. Now I'm afraid they're watching me too. They don't want the truth to get out, and I'm next on their list. Story 9. Project Bluebeam. It started as just another conspiracy theory, a wild idea that NASA and the United Nations were planning to stage a fake second coming of Christ, or an alien invasion using advanced holographic technology. But then I saw it. I was driving home one night when the sky lit up with an eerie, unnatural light. At first, I thought it was an aurora, but then the shapes started forming, figures in the sky speaking in languages I didn't understand. People around me were panicking, some dropping to their knees believing they were witnessing a divine event. But I knew better. This wasn't a miracle. It was Project Blue Beam. They were using it to manipulate us, to control us. I don't know what their endgame is, whether it's a one-world government or something even darker, but I do know that everything we see, everything we believe, is being manipulated. And if they can do this, what else are they capable of? Story 10. The 27 Club. I've always loved music, but there was something unsettling about how many of my favorite artists died young, at the age of 27. It wasn't just a coincidence. There were too many of them. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. I started digging, trying to understand why so many talented people met their end at the same age. That's when I stumbled onto the dark side of the music industry. Some believe that these artists made a deal, a pact for fame and success that required a sacrifice when they reached 27. The stories I found were disturbing, accounts of strange rituals, secret meetings, and unexplained deaths. The deeper I went, the more I realized that this wasn't just a theory. It was a pattern. And now I can't listen to their music the same way. Every note, every lyric feels like a warning, a reminder of the price they paid. And I wonder, who's next?